All right, today we're going to dig into a business strategy that, honestly, feels completely backwards at first glance. We're going to calmly and analytically break down the logic behind, starting with something super expensive and, get this, unscalable. We're going to see why this counterintuitive path might just be the most intelligent way to build a massive, sustainable business in the long run.
So, to really get a handle on this, here's how we're going to walk through it. First, we'll talk about this fundamental choice every business has to make. Then, we'll build the case for why starting expensive is so powerful. After that, we'll tackle this whole idea of unscalable and why it's actually smart. From there, we'll jump into the actual playbook. Then, talk about how to engineer a premium product. And finally, we'll connect all the dots and see how this becomes your growth engine.
You know, when you start any new business, you're pretty much standing at a crossroads. There are really only two fundamental paths you can go down to build something profitable. And the choice you make right at the beginning, well, it defines pretty much everything that comes after. Okay, so here are your two basic plays. On one side, you can sell to a very select few. We're talking extremely expensive, super high margin, but very low volume. Think high-end consulting or a bespoke, custom-built product. On the other side, you sell to everyone. This is the Walmart model. Super cheap, razor-thin margins, but you make up for it with massive, massive volume.
And this quote from Alex Hormozi, it just nails the problem perfectly. Trying to be a little bit of both, kind of medium-priced for a kind of medium-sized audience, that is a death sentence. You don't have the high margins to give amazing service, but you also don't have the insane volume to make the numbers work. You just get squeezed from both sides. The big takeaway here is you have to choose a lane.
Okay, so if you've got to pick one, why on earth does starting at the top with that expensive, low-volume offer give you such a huge strategic advantage, especially when you're just getting off the ground? Let's dig into that.
I mean, the classic example here, the one everyone points to, is Tesla. They didn't start with the affordable Model 3 for the masses. No way. They started with the Roadster, a $250,000 supercar. It was basically a paid beta test for a very small, wealthy group. But it did two crucial things. It generated cash, and it proved the concept worked. And that success, that cash, is what funded the development of the Model S. And then the success of that car is what finally made the mass-market Model 3 possible. They literally started at the top to fund their way to the bottom.
And look, this isn't just a strategy for giant billion-dollar companies. This number you're seeing, $45,000 a month, that came from one single one-on-one client. That so-called unscalable income was basically a private venture fund, fueling the growth of the bigger business without ever needing to take on outside investment.
Now, I know for a lot of people, hearing a number like that from one client, that's where the mental roadblocks go up. The word unscalable just triggers all these limiting beliefs we have. So let's really take apart this idea that unscalable is a dirty word.
Yeah, this is the big one, isn't it? It's the objection we all have in the back of our minds. We're taught from day one that trading your time for money is a trap, that it's something you have to escape. But that way of thinking actually misses the whole point about how value really works.
But here's the thing, every single person has an hourly rate. You can do the math for yourself right now. Even a master investor like Warren Buffett gets paid for his time, the time he spends researching and making decisions. So the real game isn't about not trading time for money, it's about making your time ridiculously, insanely valuable.
And it's not just about the cash, not by a long shot. Look at all these other strategic wins. You learn more and faster from one high-value client than from 100 low-paying ones. You're not just getting a paycheck, you're getting a masterclass in your own business. It completely shifts your mindset about what's possible. And because your time is limited, it forces you to raise your prices. This isn't a distraction, it's a strategic accelerator. All right, so that's the why. Now let's get into the how. We're going to start with some super simple math that really shows you the power of this, and then we'll look at a few ways to start creating your own offer. You know, this is the kind of simple math that's so easy to overlook. Just take a look at this. With the low-ticket offer, you serve 90 customers and make a decent profit. Not bad. But now look at the high-ticket side. With just 10 clients, 10% of the customers, you generate nearly 3 times the profit. The leverage here is just insane.
So how do you even start thinking about an offer like this? Well, here are 3 really powerful mental exercises. First, just ask yourself, what would I have to include in my offer if I had to charge 100 times more than I do now? What would make it even remotely justifiable? Second, what kind of experience would I have to create if this one client's word of mouth was my only way to get new business? Thinking through these frames will unlock some amazing ideas.
And just to be clear, this isn't about just slapping a giant price tag on what you already do. It's about systematically engineering real, tangible value into the offer. So let's actually deconstruct what value even means when we're talking about this.
Okay, so believe it or not, there's actually an equation for value. And by understanding and pulling on these 4 key levers, you can justify pretty much any price you want to charge. Let's look at the first one.
All right, number 1, the dream outcome. This isn't just about what you sell, it's about the transformation, the result they get. And the key is to understand their problem so deeply that when you talk about it, they feel like you're reading their mind. If you can describe their problem even better than they can, they'll just naturally believe you have the answer.
Okay, number 2 is the perceived likelihood of achievement. See, people aren't just buying the result, they're buying the certainty of getting that result. A one-on-one service makes that dream outcome feel so much more real and achievable than just buying a course or a book. Your personal involvement is like an unspoken guarantee of success.
Third, we have time delay, or let's just call it what it is, speed. This might be the single biggest motivator in all of sales. High-value clients are not trying to save money, they are trying to buy back their time. For the person you're selling this to, time is the one thing they can't make more of. Speed isn't just a feature, it's everything.
And the last piece of the puzzle is effort and sacrifice. Basically, how easy can you make this for them? A premium price demands a premium white glove experience. Your job is to find every single thing they have to do, every point of friction, and do it for them. You're not selling a service, you're selling the complete removal of effort from their life.
Okay, let's tie this all together now. This whole high-ticket, unscalable offer, it's not a side quest. It's not a distraction from your real business. It is the main engine. It's the thing that's going to fund, inform, and turbocharge everything else.
And it's so important to get this. The benefits go way beyond just the money. These first few clients, they become the bedrock of your entire business. They're your most powerful case studies. The deep insights you gain from working with them become your best marketing material. And maybe the biggest thing of all, it changes you. It proves what's possible and completely shifts what you think you're capable of.
So, what's the first step? It's actually incredibly simple. You just have to create the offer. Make a version of what you do that's 10 times more expensive and just make it available. You have to be willing to look someone in the eye, say the big scary number, and then just be quiet. Let them think. I promise you, some percentage of people, a number greater than 0, will say yes.
So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. What's the one unscalable offer that you could create, maybe even today, that could paradoxically be the key that unlocks all of the future growth for your business? It's a really powerful thought.